Afternoon.
Todd, not much went right for you guys back in week 3 against the Eagles from yardage or scoring standpoint, etc. Does that always help you this time around because you can't lean on things that worked and maybe would be more predictable as a result? You've got to kind of start from scratch on offense.
I don't think it helps you. I mean, it's late in the season now. That was week 3. We're still finding ourselves and figuring things out over there on both sides of the ball. So it doesn't help or hurt us. It just makes us know what we are now because we went through a season.
And because you're different, right? I mean, you had, I think one of your corners was out, and maybe Jamel didn't play very much. Now you have Cansey, Yaya. So how different are you on the defense in terms of just, solidifying what you want to do there?
Well, we're healthier. I don't know if we're different. Anybody that's came into play has had to step up. So we don't use injuries as an excuse, but we're healthier than we were before.
What was the difference have you seen from the Eagles from week 3 to now?
Talented. I mean, they're still tough. Again, they went to the Super Bowl last year, double-digit wins this year. They're still a great team. I mean, they got players all over the place.
Todd, these last 6 games, the 5-1 finish, the defense has given up second fewest points in the NFL in that stretch. Beyond being healthy, are there other things you point to for why they've found themselves that way?
Just communication's really picked up, and they're getting to know each other's strengths and weaknesses and playing off each other.
Todd, how much time and effort are you taking to contain Hurts as a scrambler? And how does his runs compare to a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? How do they use him as a scrambler?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, he gets his runs in, but it's the passing runs that kill you when you rush 4, and he's so athletic. He gets outside the pocket anyway. When you have 4, when you try to rush him normal, when you send 5 and you make somebody miss, he gets up through the hole. That's going to be a real concentration point because I don't see anybody that's really stopped it. We just got to try to limit it to being 30, 40, 50-yard games and try to keep it at 6, 7, and 8, hopefully.
They didn't turn over the ball, and they ran the ball a lot against you back in September, but if you look at their final 6 games here, they're not running the ball well, and they're turning the ball over a lot. Is that kind of the difference with how you beat Philadelphia?
Well, I'll let you know after the game. I don't know how you beat them yet because we haven't beaten them this year. We got to be ready for everything. They can run it and they can throw it. They got a great offensive line. They got great receivers and they got very good running backs and the quarterback's playing great. So we got to prepare for everything.
As we speak, Bill Belichick's ending his 24-year run in Foxborough. We ever going to see that duplicated, his legacy on the NFL stage again?
I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, but maybe down the line, future. You never say never, but what he did is incredible.
What are your memories with him? Obviously, you faced him with the Jets. I don't think you faced him as a player.
No, I faced him as a player with the Giants at the time, but those were battles. With the Jets, not so much. They beat us pretty good quite a few times. Great coach. I mean, if you just watch him and you watch him go through his everyday routines and the way he handles things and everything else, true professional, grinder, knows talent, knows how to play in all facets of the ball game. You can learn a lot from him. I mean, there's a couple guys, Pete Carroll as well. You can learn a lot from those guys.
What's the hallmark of a Belichick coach team?
Disciplined, tough, gritty, not making mistakes, playing well.
Do you have any stories with Nick Saban as well? Was he recruiting your son at all during that process?
Yeah, my son went down to Alabama, but I didn't take that trip. I think my father-in-law took that trip, so unfortunately I don't have any stories.
Bowles, Baker was talking about just the Eagles' defensive front and how tough that is. How can you guys have success against them?
We got to try to block them and give them time. We got to try and block them so we can run it. I mean, we just got to grind out and play 4 quarters. They're talented, but we got to win our share of battles.
Reports are that the Carolina Panthers want to talk to Dave Canales about their head coaching job. What can you say about him? And just after just 1 year as a coordinator, is anyone ready to be a head coach at that point?
I'd say he's a very bright guy. He's going to be one. If not this year, he'll be one in the near future. It's a credit to him and the work they've put in on the offensive side of the ball with the coaches and the players, and whatever accolades he deserves, he gets.
We're also, I think, shortly, Antoine Winfield Jr. will be named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. He just keeps piling up accolades and still being overlooked for some teams that we know about. in your mind, should he be a Defensive of the Year candidate as well?
I think he should. I mean, from the plays he made this year, just from the way he's played, I mean, week in and week out, big play after big play, be it sack, be it fumble, be it interception, be it tackle. He's made play in, play out. He's been consistent all year. Again, I haven't looked at the other defensive players play. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that's deserving of that award, but you know, in our minds, he's up. He should be.
Not a lot of times those awards go to pass rushers, inside linebackers that just put massive amounts of tackles, et cetera. As a former safety yourself, and you appreciate Mayfield more than most, does it irk you that he's been snubbed and overlooked?
It doesn't irk me. I mean, I don't look for that. I look for getting to the playoffs and trying to get to the Super Bowl. We love our players, and we have some good players. We understand that. Everybody get to see him soon enough that hadn't seen him yet, and he'll show them what we're seeing.
Todd, overall, on top of the extra day, given that it's Monday night, are you guys doing anything like different in the building or simulating? I mean, how does that change that, you know, we know everyone's such a routine-oriented person this time of the year. Obviously, everything gets amped up when you're in the postseason, and then playing the Monday night game. Does that, what has changed, or do you change anything in terms of scheduling to get ready for a Monday nighter?
The only thing that's really changed was yesterday was our bonus day. I mean, today is our Wednesday, and we'll continue forward like it's a Sunday game, but we know it's a Monday game. Other than that, other than yesterday, nothing's changed.
Players have mentioned across the season about starting fast in games against the Saints, against the Panthers. It didn't quite happen that way. So when you go to play Philadelphia on Monday night, the playoff environment, how do you think you could ensure that the team does come out and start fast like that?
Well, we got to make plays. We got to do the right things. Nobody can go outside the box and do something on their own. And we got to block people, we got to tackle people, and we got to make plays.
Would Baker have practiced today if it were a full practice? And when do you expect to see him on the field, just in general?
He would not have practiced today. Hopefully we'll see him tomorrow.
And how much has those injuries, right, the ribs and then the ankle against Carolina, affected what he's able to do or willing to do, or how you call the game? In other words, do you have to be mindful of the fact that he's not maybe, you know, physically able to do what he normally does?
It's a fine line. I don't think it affects him as it affects Dave as far as calling the game. I think Thad does a very good job making sure he gets the plays that he needs to get for us to win, as opposed to calling plays just to protect him. We're trying to win the ball game is the number one thing, and Baker will tell you that. So when he's out there, I don't think it affects him.
Coach, go back to week 3, battles in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. The Eagles were able to control that, and from a physicality standpoint, they had the advantage. This week, how do you go about maybe kind of evening that and stopping them?
Well, we got to play better. They beat us on both sides of the ball up front and in the trenches, and they won the ball game. For us to win the ball game, we got to win the trenches.
What you guys had in the building all along, but there are many who doubted the Bucs, thought there would be a basement team. Did that provide any sort of chip on your shoulder, and do you carry that into the playoffs with you guys?
I mean, I'm sure it is for the players and some coaches. A lot of guys look at it as a chip on their shoulder because they've been to the playoffs here before. For the young guys, I don't think so, but we do a good job of keeping outside noise out of the building, and we know what we can control, and we did everything we thought we could do, and we're still going. So I'm sure we're underdogs, and we'll be underdogs every week if we keep winning, so we're good with that.
And what is your message to the young guys who have never sniffed the playoffs, the rookies, the guys last year who maybe weren't in starting positions or had key roles who are now stepping into those roles this week?
Well, the intensity's ramped up, but don't stop doing what you've been doing. You know, continue to prepare the same way, continue to be a pro, and continue to do what you've been doing. The minute you go outside the box is the minute you lose the ball game.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thanks.